Karibuni, welcome tuelimishwe kwa maswala ya jamii, tuchunguze sana mbalimbali, tujuze juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, wapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
Good evening. This is the 18th of September 2021, and the show coming right here from TheArtsinHeart is the family edition. My name is Likuyani Eli, and we are discussing matters of interest tonight about money. You know, when you talk about money, everybody says it's too tight to mention. Go to a brother or sister, and they'll tell you, "Hey, Baba, ni kubaya." So, Coach Collins is here with me, and he's here to help me understand this subject that is rather not so friendly to many. Good evening, Coach. Mambo vipi?
Good evening, mambo poa sana. Nimetuliza bado nikiwa sehemu yetu ya pwani. Sijui wewe namna gani uko ng'ambo?
Mimi wana mambo mazuri hapa, lakini kuna mtu anacheza na kamera yangu hapa, anaiambia i zoom out badala ya ku zoom in. And we are going to talk about money, especially when it involves relatives and friends. Coach, I don't know about you and your experience, but I know we've had these conversations in other sittings, but we saw it was important because this conversation is informed by one of our viewers last week, who happens to be one of us actually, and she asked us, and that is Frida, who told us, rather asked, "Hello, Coach, what's your take on learning to say no to your siblings or even parents on occasions you feel there's pressure to be the one providing or doing a lot in the family?" Your pressure unaonaje, Coach?
Thank you, Ellie. You see, there's what we call Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a African philosophy which says, "I am what I am because of what you are." And basically, the African context of how people are living, it was the role and responsibility of each and every individual to make sure that your success become the success of your brother, and your brother's success become your success. However, there's a lot of challenge in our modern world today, whereby you're no longer doing a communal work in the village, so that we farm together and support each other with the same produce upon harvesting. And so many dynamics within our urban lifestyle are actually making a big challenge, even in the context of Ubuntu.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. My father was the firstborn in a polygamous home. So upon getting his job back in 1968 as the firstborn, he had a responsibility to educate his 16 siblings from 1968 until 1992. So all the money used to get...
My name is Kurumi, Coach. Okay, and Coach, I think this is very personal. You decided you're gonna freeze on us, but we're gonna try and get you back. Meanwhile, everybody that is watching, karibu sana. My name is Likuyani, and we are here with Coach Collins Bolo. We're trying to get his internet fixed so that he can continue telling us how his father educated his 16 siblings from those years. And I see we have Real Tony who says more fire there. And Wycliffe Gaddafi says, "TheArtsinHeart, I'm locked in inaskiza na microphone na headsets zote ziko pamoja." We equally have Jane Lit who says, "I'm here to listen." And karibu sana Jane, because there's a lot to learn tonight. And then we have Mkala Bwana Mkala, vipi wewe? Jambo kaka, nakupa salamu za dhati sana. Vipi? Karibu sana kaka. Then we have who else is here? Edwin Kanda who say like it. Karibu sana, and everybody that is watching, welcome to the discussion. I'm here with Coach Collins Bolo. Coach, just before you told about your siblings, something decided to happen on your end. Kindly proceed.
Thank you. I was giving an example of my father. He was a firstborn in a polygamous home. All of them were 16 from the first mother and the second mother, who happened to be my grandmother, both of my grandmothers. From 1968 until 1992, he had a responsibility to educate all his siblings. And during his time, his philosophy was simple. Now that I'm privileged to get a good job which can pay me, I rather educate my brothers and sisters so that when I be old and I'm dead, they won't turn against you because I had pumped all my investment on you as my children.
Yeah.
It worked with him. He used to get trips to study in Royal Navy in Britain. He got different achievement, became an expert in missile handling of missiles and such kind of things. He managed to help all of them. Today, all of them are very successful in different areas of life. In case of anything, as a family, we can use the philosophy of Ubuntu, whereby we can support each other. But this is not a reality in all the families in our society. In essence, that more and more of our people today are more having consumption mentality than productive mentality.
Yeah.
Whereby if one of the sibling in one way or the other sounds to be economically better, people put down their tools to start now drinking and sucking from their big brother or their small brother. Then the Ubuntu philosophy does not come. One great scholar said, if you have 9 friends around you who are broke, know that you are the 10th one. That's where we are today on the issue of supporting each other.
You know what, Coach? That's a very great way to open the floor. But let's find out what people actually think about the same. And I have one gentleman here, and this is courtesy of course, our partners, Gelitex Media, all the way in Mombasa, Kenya, who went on the streets on our behalf to bring us this piece. And we'll be listening to one after the other. Let's just listen in.
If you have the ability to give back to the family, you can, but it is not a must for you to feel like morally obligated to do that. But however, because they have supported you, it's always important for you to occasionally give back. So I wouldn't succumb to the pressure of sending money oftenly, but I will support them in any way that I feel possible.
That guy has decided he will not succumb to pressure. But coach, zile pressure vijana wanapigwa huku nje. Oh, everybody all of a sudden knows what corona is. Oh, unajua corona ilifanyika mtoto wangu. Now we have no way of making it here. And you're like, mama, if you're in the village, I'm in the city, then you should know better that you have to, wewe uko na mrenda pale nyumbani, una terere zako. Mimi hapa mjini lazima niwe kila kitu. Coach, pressure za M-Pesa.
Unfortunately, there's too much pressure, especially people in the city getting pressure from people in the village, or those who are in diaspora getting pressure from people who are back at home. Now, one man said the difference between irrigation and erosion is what happens on the way to the sea. Meaning that when it has rained and there's water flowing to the sea, if you do farming, you have planning, and with farming, it becomes irrigation. But if there's no plan, it becomes erosion. Now, meaning that whether you are working in the city, you are working in diaspora, and you are earning your money, if you don't have financial plan, you don't have budget, so that when money comes in, it funds you with the plan, and within your plan, you have set up money which you can help as a float in case there's anything back at home where you can support based on your ability. Then each and every amount of money, if you don't have any plan, any amount of money which comes on your way, you'll find yourself dishing it out, either in sympathy or against guilt consciousness. And in the process, you realize that you stay in diaspora for many years. By the time you're coming back to Kenya, you're as good as you could not have even gone out of the country. Or you are in the city, and by the time you're going back home, or if anything happens like death, finally your friends discover you invested nothing at all back at home. Reason is pressure. Pressure is there, but once you have a plan, it helps to buffer against most of the negative pressure which come on from a good sibling, whom some of them do not know and understand the matrix of multiplication, but they understand very well the matrix of consuming whatever is available. Now, because of the dynamics of this matrix of money spending, then you can become a victim of lack of planning on your resources upon getting them in one way or the other. Pressure is there, but you can buffer the pressure by coming up with a plan, so that if someone will demand what is not within your plan, neither ability, you can actually respond very well without necessarily feeling guilty about the occurrences taking place.
Coach, it's really easier said than done, but we will continue having this discussion. Let me just head to the comment section and find out what you guys think about the topic tonight, which is money and family. And specifically, I'm saying my wallet or our wallet is this fat. What do you expect? Mambo imebadilika. Let's see who is here. Edwin Kanda, watching us live on YouTube, says I like it. Thank you so much and welcome to the show. We have Wycliffe who says karibu dadangu, karibu sana kwa wale ambao mna join. Thank you so much Wycliffe for kuwakaribisha kwa ile tent ya blue. We have True Story Collins. We grew up together. Good job. Stephen Rono. Okay,
Yes.
okay. So Coach Collins atupigia hapa kasheshe. This is a true based story that is using to actually tell us what is and what is not. We have Makomere Gilbert. Thank you so much for tuning in, sir. All the way in Oklahoma, USA. Habari ya kule, habari za mchana. Anchinge huko tu anasema hapa iko kitu. Sawa kaka, karibu sana. We have again we have Edwin Kanda who says Mr. Collins has been our motivational speaker when we were doing something in Msambweni KMTC. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Hey Collins, wewe nitakana nitembee na wewe karibu. Naona jinangu ikiongezeka haraka. Thank you so much, Sarah. And Jonjo says TheArtsinHeart Family Edition. Hello people, hello to you, Sarah. How are you doing tonight? We have Elisha Makoha who says the black tax is unavoidable in Africa. Too many dependents, limited resources. And by the way, one of my very great friends called Derek Waso actually did a piece called The Black Tax, and it's an amazing way to explain everything you're talking tonight. So if you haven't watched, head on to YouTube and find out clip. Meanwhile, we have Caro Kenya who says tuned in. Again, naona Sarah anasema hapa mambo pressure za M-Pesa ni real. Unaamuka saa 6 za asubuhi, unaangalia simu, nilikuwa ninasema. Ukisikia that kind of call, wejipe shughuli. We have Dutchman O2 who says well said. Karibu sana again Dutchman. Okay, naona Sarah Njoja amekubali kukaa kwa comments leo. Mbona sija kuona kwa hii tent yetu? Nafikiri yako mahali anakaribisha wageni kama Asha. And we have Lucy Kagendo. Thank you so much for coming back, Lucy. What about when your siblings depend on you? And I believe your story when you were starting off, Coach, actually explained this, where your father had to educate all the 16 of them. Yeah, but we Jama, by the way, Mungu ampe nguvu. He is a strong man. Judy Mugera, thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, wait, Coach, hawa watu unawajua? Yes. Kama unawajua wasalimie, by the way. Unawajua? Salimiana.
Judy Mugera is the wife to great motivational speaker Dan Mugera.
Thank you.
Actually a medical doctor, Mark Makoa. Brian Bolo is my younger brother, who is right there.
Family,
yes.
Full dose.
Oh, you have Gilbert there.
Waiting to hear from him because great is tuned in from Mombasa, and Coach Collins, you just the bomb. So let's continue this conversation, Coach. But before we do that, we're going to take another quick break. But to usher us into the break, let's listen into one of the other participants on when it is needed or not needed to give cash to family. We'll be right back.
This is what I usually do. I have to know exactly what a person wants to do with the money before I decide to help. So in case somebody is requesting for money and the issue that you want to do is of paramount importance, then I will help. That is, I have no limit with that.
Coach.
Yeah.
We are back to the family edition and we are discussing matters money and family and money and friends. Jama pigias you call, tells you, oh, coach, I was passing here and then I just thought about you and I think you are the only one who can save me from this trouble. Niko na
Yeah.
biashara ninataka kufanya.
Yes.
Na nimeona ni wewe tu unaweza ni finance. Is this something you'll head into and give them the money, coach?
There are several things which you have to consider, because now the context here is siblings, not necessarily friends and strangers coming on the way. Now, one guy once said, most of the time the problem which we have is not money problem, but idea problem.
Mm-hmm.
But even if we have idea, which we think it can help us generate money, is it within our competency, our ability, and our passion? Because Kenyans are known to be very good photocopiers when it comes to doing business. A neighbor just started an M-Pesa business and all the people are flocking in. Then everybody within no time they're starting M-Pesa business just next to that M-Pesa. Another neighbor starts Mutumba business and is picking up. Within no time, everybody is starting Mutumba business next to that passion, not connected to their passion, not connected to their ability, not connected to their purpose for life. So that one means investing money genuinely to this person is your sibling is as good as your sincerity. You might sound very sincere, but sincerely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So because money making is a skill, and these skills are based on concepts which generate resources. That's why today, a person who just went up to high school and got a good mentor on the law of money creation can generate more than a full accountant with CPA 6 who had the skill to count, credit, and record financial statements, but might not be knowing the ability to generate resources by itself. It's a skill which is there. That's why not all graduates in business studies might necessarily end up to be the best business people. Now, meaning that there's some level of competency which is required apart from the honest, genuine. See, when people are under a lot of financial pressure, like time like now because of COVID, everybody's thinking about, I think I need to start a business. Then people are pumping good amount of money on a good idea, not based on their passion, not based on their ability, not based on any mentoring, and they pump the whole amount of money. It's just like someone who has worked with the government or parastatal for 30 years, then upon retirement, for the first time, they're starting their business, investing more than 1 million because they're no longer in job to start, and they fail tremendously. We need to use the same standard scale. Yes, it's my small brother, it's my big brother, is thinking about starting a business. But what is the motivating factor? Does he have the market? So that once I deposit money to him, does he have ability to run the business by himself, or there's a need of partnership on the same? Is he starting by partnership with somebody else or part of the other siblings? Or is he a good man when broke, but once money comes in, it will all go to the drinking den? We need to think about several things without pumping money to some of our siblings.
Coach, that's funny because I believe most of us have been victims of very great business ideas. And it leaves me asking, coach, if your idea is that good, why can't you approach a bank?
Yeah, that's the thing, because the moment you approach the bank have their own standards. First, they don't give you money if you're just starting afresh. You have to have some level of proof that the idea which you think is so great, it's already working to some level. So they're just topping up so that the idea can continue producing more and more. There are other parameters which most of the time the banks will have to check before they invest money on an individual. However, some of the most shrewd business people, like the Jewish group of people, like Asian group of people, before they start a business, they have a basic concept. I have an idea. Probably the idea is working at this small level, and then to boost the idea. Some of the common questions they ask themselves include, like one, for example, I need 200,000 or 300,000 or 500,000 Kenyan shilling. Some of the common questions they ask themselves is, Now that my business is growing and I need to top up some resources to it, how much do I have by myself to add to this business to generate it to become better? The answer is probably a quarter of the amount of money. Who from our family can I request for resources so that I can add value to myself? Because a family member will give without demanding for extra interest. If it's not immediate family, within the extended family point, do I have one of them or two who believe in my idea, who believe in my business, who have seen the fruit within my business, whom I can learn from them with little interest, minimum interest, or no interest at all? Then from that point now, they now get outside the family circle. Is there an institution which I'm attached with them? Maybe they have a circle who can lend me, who I can lend money from them and invest in my business and pay back with less interest. Now, when things don't work, they now have to go to the bank. That becomes the last option. But many of us, because we don't relate well at home as far as money matters are concerned, we get stuck, or when you go to the bank, the requirements cannot fit, and we die with the great ideas. Parameters have to be there.
Parameters have to be there. And I think, Coach Collins, you are struggling with your network connection tonight. I don't know what's happening over there, but I hope you can get it fixed so that tunakusikiza sana. You have a lot of knowledge that you are oozing. You're really oozing tonight. Let's just get again to the comment section. And before I pose the question to the audience, let's just read through. We have Henry Cyril, who tells me tuned in from Caps. That's Kapsabet, if I'm not wrong. Karibu sana, Henry. We have Sarah and Jonjo again, welcoming others that are not there. And Moses Migo, who tells me tuned in from Watamu. Watamu hamjambo. Mesindaze Mwambaze. We have Ronald Kavuku, who says great advice. We are enlightened. Thank you so much, Ronald, for joining tonight. And for all of you that are watching tonight, I think we have about 20 or so that are watching. Kindly share this link to one or two people. Ask them to come so that tunaweza discuss this matter. Coach, before we continue, because this is now the next segment, because I find it very interesting, there's this money tunaitanga pesa ya emergency. Bro, niko na emergency. Ushaichapwa na emergency. Kama ushawaichapwa na emergency and somebody from family call you because they have an emergency, share with us your story in the comment section and how this emergency actually went. Were you able to recover back your money kama ilikuwa ni deni? And if not, how did you handle it? We'll be back after a break or two. Let's see what, in case you missed out last week, what you missed out on.
It's some kids, it gets them, it feels like, oh, so it's me. So it seems I'm the problem. Then they start developing guilt consciousness on issues whereby if skills like labeling is addressed well, in case there's a problem with kids, if you have a house help, you have a parent, kindly separate the person from the problem. Address the problem, spare the person. Attack the problem, spare the person.
Everyone tells you to watch out for the following signs and symptoms which might indicate that you are a mental health patient. Everyone gives you a clinical approach on how to tackle your mental health problems. But me, I'm no expert. I'm just an artistic soul with a simple life and a simple approach on how to stay sane in a world designed to drive you insane. Simple, the EP. Enjoy.
For my parents, for my siblings, or if I'm helping anyone, and I know it in advance, I try as much as possible to budget that as part of my monthly cost. So it's very hard for them to come back and say, oh, I need XYZ, I need money for XYZ. So not really. I have a good understanding with my family, even in terms of when they need money and it's an emergency, we always find sources and they rarely demand. But for someone who demands, even if it's a close friend, I don't feel obligated. Yeah.
Welcome back. And that's a really great piece there. Again, talking about, these monies that you guys are always demanding. There's no obligation. Hata kama wewe ni rafiki or family, there's no obligation as long as it's not in the budget. And you know what happens a lot of times is we end up saying, Niko na emergency. Emergency never has a problem. I mean, in our African society, it's unheard of. If it's an emergency, it has to be addressed immediately. People never have insurance for the emergencies. But then again, Joyce Wangeshi, who says actively listening. And thank you so much, Joyce, for joining. Charles Nyandia again watching us live. Thank you so much. Brian Bolo ametuambia ndugu, mahali nipo network iko nyororo. Everything is as clear and crystal clear. So I drop. Nimekubali ndugu. Evelyn Atieno says, thanks Collins. At least you are doing good as my supervisor. Homera, people are seeing you. People
I can
are
see
seeing you.
Very excited, Yawa.
This is good, Yawa. So, tell me, coach, and I think we need to have this very conversation in a candid way. When you have relatives that will call you because of emergencies, that lady there tells us, as long as it's not in the budget, Mexico. Do we ever purchase? I mean, do you think most of our Kenyan working force actually prepare for emergencies? And if not, what is now the way out of these situations, coach?
Thank you very much. Basically, in our context, most of the time we don't prepare for emergencies. It's even savings, not even just emergencies. Even most of us, we don't have money in our savings. We live for today. Planning for tomorrow, it's not a common thing. And there are several factors which lead to that. One, belief system. There are people who just believe God will take care of tomorrow. You don't need to plan for it. So when that tomorrow comes in, the ones will call you emergency. If you ask little about the emergency, it's actually not an emergency. It's just a kind of pressure for that time. But even if they won't get money, still they're going to be alive tomorrow. A part of that, lack of planning is another key thing in most of the time. For example, someone's wife is expectant and pregnancy takes 9 months. 9 good months, and they are very visible at the same time. This is not like a jipu, which is hidden inside the stomach. It is coming up, and it's a big tummy. This woman is going to, and the time when delivery will come and will be taking place, it is very much known this woman has to be taken to the hospital, and the process has to take place. But still, a very mature individual doesn't plan about the delivery day and what will be required. Even where we are free delivery, where we just need to have one piece of leso, gora, with a basin. Still someone does not plan for it, then suddenly from nowhere, I have an emergency. What's the emergency? To buy beseni. My wife is delivering tomorrow. So the culture of saving for tomorrow, it's not very much common in our society, leading to a lot of unnecessary crisis to ourselves, and we find ourselves blaming our brothers and our sisters when they cannot help us when we feel like we need them. Yet, we did not plan for such kind of scenario. Yes, there are some few instances whereby real emergency can come up. Good example, the rate at which young people are dying because of this piki Okada business is so high. Friends, I'm a young family, then someone encourages his brother or sister to get, and they buy, a family comes in, they buy piki for business. Then after 1 week or so, an accident takes place, and this family member is in a situation which is not good. You did not budget for it, and this person actually needs help. He doesn't have insurance cover, probably still very young and coming up. Yes, there are situations where we can sacrifice and help, even against our budget. But an emergency like emergency, nini, ntumie 2,000. For what purpose? Niko na njaa. Now, some scenario actually is not something which actually should lead us towards some kind of response in one way or the other. So lack of budgeting, lack of planning contributes a lot, even in a situation whereby real emergency has come up and we need to help each other. So Basically, it's not part of our culture, but we need to learn and to develop a culture of saving. And not only that, what can we do in case of an emergency? Very key. Other aspect, I can give another example. In case there's an eventuality like an accident which has just taken place, skills and basic knowledge like among the hospitals around in a place, which are some of the best hospitals in case something happens, we have to go in fast for emergency. We get help before the patient is stabilized, and then we can call each other for support. Even some of this basic information, most of the time we do not know. So when eventuality comes in, boom, things become chaotic. Planning, budgeting, it's not common. Another example I'll give, you are a parent, your child is in class 8, is soon going to have an exam after 1 year towards going to high school. But still, there's no plan for it. Why? Most of the time we live for today and we don't plan for tomorrow. So when such kind of situation comes in and it's not death, then we end up fighting each other, hating one another, looking down on each other, and forcing others to feel guilty because they did not help you to top up money for your class 8 student who just finished last year because you did not plan at all. So we are more with consumption mentality than productive mentality. We don't plan. So it's a reality.
Yes, coach, as you say that, it's the consumption mentality that is in there, but there's also this other mentality of, my brother is working in town, so why not ask when the emergency comes through? I mean, at the end of the day, he's my bro, tumbo moja, mama moja, why not? And coach, if a brother or a cousin or a sister or a friend will call me and I refuse to respond to their need by, let's say, most of them will actually text you, please call me, when it was still functioning. I don't know if this thing is still working because WhatsApp is almost free. And then they will follow through with some umeona message yangu. Bro, kama sijaona message yako na nimeiona, am I obliged to respond? Are you obliged to respond to people who are demanding money from you? Money that has nothing to do with your business.
Now, I think it's not a must to respond to each and every demand, because once demand comes, it's another thing. And these demands, most of the time in a society, are very common because some of the uncles, big brothers, and cousins, they assume because of age, then it's mandatory for you to respond to them the fastest possible when the call just comes on the way. And due to the dynamics of challenges in our society today, that's when now we need to learn what we call assertive skills. With assertive skills, your goal is simple. I'm not going to attack the person, but I'm going to address the problem. Whereby
Definitely.
one can come to you, by the way, I have a situation. Can you lend me 10,000? In fact, some of these people usually ask big amount of money. I urgently need 10,000 from you, then I'm going to refund you tomorrow. Then you wonder, in less than 24 hours, if you can get another 10,000, should I
Why not wait?
push myself to it? And most of the time, this money don't come back. Or someone is asking you some huge amount of money that they don't have any source of income in any way to return the money back to you. Now, it becomes prudent for you to safeguard your relationship as a family. Don't give the money. But don't be silent. You have to look for the best way to respond at this particular point. In response, the philosophy is still the same. Spare the person, address the issue. How do you do it? Thank you, my brother. I've just received your need for me to help you 10,000, which you need to use probably for ABCD. But at this particular point, I'm not in a position to help. But I wish I would. Now, the way we communicate back matters a lot at this particular point, so that one won't feel like you have actually dumped them, even in the middle of real problem, which sometimes you cannot solve at that particular point. Now, those skills are very key, so that as much as you cannot intervene at that particular point, but you preserve and reserve the respect and the relationship you have. It's very key. Because in our society today, most of our people, their source of income is a job, or probably the position which they are where they've been employed. Now, if you become again negatively arrogant, even when you have ability to do that, the day of misery, when it comes and you're out of your job, you have retired, and you need the same people to help you, it doesn't work. I'll give a case study.
Are you telling me this is an insurance policy you're taking unknowingly, coach?
It's just part of Ubuntu. It's just part of Ubuntu. I'll give a case study. There's a family some years back in Mombasa whereby one of the relatives who happened to be an orphan had been actually be brought in one of the family, because at that particular time he was in high school. So this family really helped him so much so that he can finish high school. Then he started studying accounts. Now, during this particular process and time while studying accounts, and the relative whom he was staying with them was very loaded, he had the ability to help and to give support. But the wife to this guy was totally against the idea of this person being helped, because she felt like, why should we have taken him to Form 4? Why should we continue helping him? But the husband felt, no, let's do this. Let us just help him. Doing accounts, it won't take a long time, and he's going to be free from a hand so that he can move on with his life. So the guy, he survived living in that home. Sometimes he's not being given food to eat. Sometimes negative sentiments have been sent to him, until the time he was almost finishing his accounts, the guy had to be kicked out of the house. Not because the husband did not have ability to do that, but because the wife was not for the idea. And in some cases, it happens vice versa. Lo and behold, this guy, the wife, the husband died, because death is part of parcel of life. Things just went like boom. They had to be kicked out of that place very fast because it was a government facility. They had to relocate to the village. And at this particular point, this guy was employed with another company, and he started becoming very economically stable. That was a big challenge. She could not seek for help because of the past experiences which she had with him, and he was suffering in silence. That's why we need to learn, spare the person, address the issue. Very important, so that we don't get, so we can balance between Ubuntu, I am what I am because of what, against necessarily deciding not to give help where it can be. That's very key. And sometimes the mentality we have is like, no, we are in the city, it's about me alone and myself. Where we can. Now, I'll give another example. In most of developed countries, people believe the more economically stable you are, the more you should help the people who need to get the support. Interestingly, but they have systems on how they do it. With us, we came up from a culture whereby we support each other for common growth and success. But we're becoming more individualistic, which is still okay, but sometimes we are too hard to ourselves by giving out every amount of demand, or too hard to ourselves by not helping at all. Spare the person, address the issue.
Coach, let's just address the issues that are coming through. I hope we can be able to catch up. This is Joyce Wangeshi tells me live from Voi. Thank you so much, Joyce, for joining. And welcome to Art in Heart. We have Evelyn Atieno who tells me this is a good conversation indeed. Budget should be drafted in December for the following with miscellaneous. One miscellaneous is over. Kindly commit. Once miscellaneous is over, kindly communicate openly that my miscellaneous budget is over. Imeisha. Hakuna kitu ingine. Evelyn, thank you for that. Thalma Somosh says, where do we classify those emergency favor from our sisters? Cheza chini wewe Gaddafi. Cheza chini. And we have from the philosophy of being a brother's keeper, that is Joshua Masese, emergencies should be tackled by your inner circle. Undugu ni kufaana, sio kufanana. To your circle, you should seek financial literacy so as to uplift one another with emergency when emergency comes knocking. Great insights, coach. And coach, emergency hukuja, lakini kuna emergency zingine si emergency. Like you've said, why would I see my bae getting pregnant week 2, week 6, until week 40, almost 38, and I'm there clueless that I need to be paying for the delivery fees? Ata kuna worse, do you guys make it that even NHIF, I hope it's still functioning and I'm not just talking my own things. I hope. So don't crucify me. I'm talking from way back information that NHIF is existent and nobody takes the initiative to actually pay that 500 bob for the, for those rainy days when you desperately need to go to hospital. Because again, Africans never go to hospital. Sisi tunakufanga kimnyama. Sisi you only step to the hospital on your deathbed, literally, coach. Let's take a break, coach. When we come back, I want to involve you in another great conversation. And for those that are watching, remember TheArtsinHeart has programs for you every single Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What do we have on Tuesday? We have the men's den. On Wednesday, we have the girls' talk. And on Friday, we have the creative space. Tonight, we have the family edition. And on Sunday, we have Against All Odds. So my guest, Derek Wasso, will be coming tomorrow. And this is just part of what he told us in a previous show.
Very many things that I've done because of love. The most weirdest one was I traveled all the way from Kimilili to Mombasa to meet a lady that I had met on Facebook. Because in my view, I felt that I was so in love. So she told me that I should travel and go and meet her. So I summed up some little savings that I had and traveled all the way to Mombasa to meet this chick. Guess what? It was a scam. She was non-existent. It was a ghost. It was a man who was using somebody else's account to solicit money from men. In my view, that is the most weirdest and most stupidest thing I've done because of love.
It's good to help, but then when it comes to a point that you have to stretch extra in an extra way or break your back, that's why I say break your back, but then it then comes a problem. So you can help where you can. If you have it, you can help, but then if it comes a point whereby you need to go to an extra mile, it's not a good thing to do. It's not a great solution. Yeah, so the thing is, if you have it, yes, you can, but then if it needs you to do something else extra, that at the end of the day might either hurt you, either alone or something else, it's not really worth it.
Welcome back to the family edition. And the gentleman just before that did some miraculous stuff, traveled to meet a stranger they never met. And on top of it, he alichoma fare na akarudi bure. But that's life. We'll be talking to him tomorrow night on Against All Odds. And of course, the clip earlier on, Coach Collins Bolo, if you can hear me, is this lady who's saying you should not break your back for the sake of helping. Only stretch to the far you can. But coach, we all know, again, there goes your policy and your life coaching words of Ubuntu. I am because you are. How much is too much when you're helping, coach?
How much is too much? The moment you realize that your help for other people brings negative consequences to your immediate family member, you better change your strategy on how you help. That's one of the challenges which I had sometimes back. I realized that as a Christian, because I have passion for people, I know that every person who comes in, you're trying to help, then by the time you're getting home, you have nothing for yourself. Or when you're asked, your wife will be asking you for some money to buy some things, you find it very complicated and really challenging because the guys you're helping outside, you're spending much more than what you can spend for your family. And that one, for me, it became what's part of the work plan which I need to do by myself. And today, what I cannot give to my wife and for my children, I won't give to anybody unless I'm quite sure with the abilities I have, it's appropriate. That's one of the parameters to use. Another particular point is my helping other people detrimental to my immediate family members? True. Is my help for other people detrimental to my health and the health of my family members? Is my help for other people danger even to my family and to myself? Very key at that particular point. Because sometimes in trying towards being an Ubuntu African, we realize that we overstretch ourselves beyond our limit. Now that one means you need to understand your limit. That's another key. Where is my limit? Up to what point can I move to at that particular point? Two, you need to have a clear definition on issues which, even if the emergency you can help, and issues which you cannot at that particular point. You have to have a very clear no. On this matters, I'm sorry, I cannot. On this other matter, I can help. It's very key. Or else you find yourself, you have this sibling, he goes everywhere, he steals, he runs away, you have to pay the policemen to bribe them for him not to be arrested, and your money, boom, it is gone. Because someone is so irresponsible back in the community. He goes and he drinks, he gets arrested, then the police demand for 5,000 for the boy to release or will be taken to the court. Then you start running up and down, calling everybody, can you raise 5,000? Then you are minus 5,000 in your plan because of someone's irresponsibility of drinking, getting drunk, and irresponsible behavior. You have to define under what circumstances and situation do I need to give help. Another thing which is very key and important, the kind of help which is coming up, is it help which will liberate my brother or sister to be free and progress without coming back for call to us calling for help? That's because there's some kind of help you give, the money just disappears and the person will come back to you again. Now, you have to define, you have to sit down, by the way, this kind of help you need. Can we come up with a long-term solution towards your problem? And sometimes it can be far much better if your brother or sister have certain quality and abilities. You come together, raise money, work with him so that he can be independent to grow and progress than just dishing out money. Because most of the time it's not money problem, but idea problem. And probably what they need is just to get a mentor to work with him towards the areas of his strength, but not money at that point. So have a clear definition of what the exact problem is and which is the best methodology to be used towards helping your brother or your sister, even sometimes your wife. But when these things are very clear, then it becomes helpful and someone will celebrate you tomorrow. By the way, the other time when you help me with advice, it has helped me to progress in life. Thank you did not give me money, but the advice you gave me, boom, it helped me to progress.
Literally, that is teaching a man how to fish and make him eat fish for the rest of his life, other than giving him fish every night. Because, there's a story that happened. There's this one influential social media personalities and of course, a media personality that gave out some young man rent money. And that money became a problem. Nitakurudishia hii elfu yako 18. You cannot insult me because I asked for money. And the guy was like, I only but told you today I've fixed your issue, but it cannot be entirely that way. And that's what we need to tell each other. Ukweli, tuambiane ukweli. So let's get to the comment section again. I see Peter Kitatu tells me, good talk. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining the conversation tonight. And I see Coach smiling. Definitely, Coach. Maze, Coach, what when you know now? Ninafurahia sana. Limits or margins need to be set from the beginning. This is Teresa Shikolio, who tells us from the way, mnaanza tu hivi, these are my limits. This is the much I'll give, and this is the much I cannot do. Take it or leave it. We have Philomena Onyango Odhiambo who tells me, I'm impressed. Thank you guys for your effort to help raise healthy relationships and families. And thank you so much, Philomena, for tuning in, because this is what we do right here on the Family Edition every Saturday. We have Teresa Shikoli again to say, nice talk, Collins, nice talk. Collins, as
Yes.
we conclude this conversation tonight, I want you to help me out. There's a difference between asking for help and asking for a loan, an advancement of cash for a period of time. Kindly explain to Kenyans the difference, because some, when they get the money, all of a sudden their problem is solved and they forget they actually ever asked for money. Kindly explain to them the difference when you are obliged to return the money and when it's actually a gift. Nilikuwa nasema unisaidie. Collins.
Thank you. Now, at any given time before, if you find yourself in a fix and you feel like I need support, first be honest and genuine to yourself. Yes, I need this money, but do I have ability to refund the money, so that you can differentiate between calling for help and asking for loan? Now, this is key, because most of the time we are under pressure. Sometimes our thinking is not very logical in several matters. A good example, it has been found out that most of the people, when they're down and under a lot of pressure, as far as finances are concerned, they become personal experts in ideas on which money can be generated. Very much. And they can be very strategic. Actually, they become self-consultant to themselves because of the kind of pressure they have. Now, in their self-consultancy, they come to conclusion, now I need this amount of money and I need someone to give it to me. But what they're not aware is, even in the middle of their crisis, still right formulas need to be used, even in asking for the money. I usually say, don't ask what you know you cannot refund, and be very clear. By the way, I need from you 10,000 shillings. There's something which I need to do, but I'm not sure if I have ability to return to you as soon as possible, or give me an open-ended period of paying back the money. But that issue of give me 10,000, then in 2 days, I'm going to refund back the money. Now, that one means most of the people end up asking the money so that they don't spoil relationship with the same person. They have to ask another person for another 10,000 to cover the debt which was there 2 days ago. And that cycle moves on before one realizes his current behavior has become an addict in asking money from people and paying back debts for yesterday to ask for more today. Within no time, it spoils relationship. If you feel what you are doing is productive and you need extra money, then you can go for the option of loan. Today in Kenya, you have different ways. There is chama, you are Naume chama, you are kina mama, we have sako. Then you can go and ask, because if you ask from your sako or from your chama, you know very well if you don't pay, your shares will be taken. It gives you a sense of responsibility upon asking for the loan than going to an individual, whereby it might be safer if it's your sibling to ask for money without necessarily with an open-ended thing. Then you agree among yourself, okay, sawa, mimi nitakusaidia. When you find you have stabilized, return to me the money. With peace of heart and mind, it becomes very well. Than asking for a loan, because hypothetically you have done your calculation and you feel like after 2 months, when people will be responding this way, I'll have all the money, then things don't go. Then someone, your fellow Ubuntu, sacrifices to give you the money in hope and belief you'll be able to return after 2 months. Then you realize after the second month, the business has not picked up. That's why sometimes it's important to consult other people who are in the same industry where you are to give you the reality of the happenings than hypothetical ideas which are made on the bed after a lot of anger by not eating the whole night. It works in a society and we have to be very careful about it.
Lakini hakuna kitu mbaya kama njaa, coach. Njaa ni mbaya. At the end of the day, you know what we say here on Heart in Heart is that we are here to help people think better, view things in a more real world and an ideal world, because most of us live in ideal worlds where
Yeah.
everything is as perfect as it should be. But the reality is sometimes we get disappointed, and that's why we have all these programs set out for you. Every single Tuesday, we have Men's Den that addresses matters men. And this is just a snippet of the previous discussion that we had on the Men's Den. Take a look. Okay, na imeenda wapi? Iko hapa.
Ukipewa mtoto wako umshike, that smile you radiate in kwa huyo mtoto ina create attachment yenye ina last forever. And that's why unasikia kwa development, presence is very important. Hata upeane pesa kiasi gani na hauko present, hakuna vile huyo mtoto ata create that attachment. Sasa your presence determines kama huyo mtoto ata create the positive attachment ama atakuwa na negative attachment when growing up.
Juu anapenda chapati na hana pan. Uliona ile mimi msichana mwenye anaendanga kwa boyfriend na pan? Huyo msichana ni mimi. Nitaendelea
unabeba pan from your hostel to his hostel.
Yes, nilikuwa naweka pan kwa kibeti, ninaenda kupikia boyfriend.
Lakini wewe ndugu, how are you even mke nyumbani?
Well, for those and many more, you can always join the conversation. Remember, that is on Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Friday, we have the creative space. And on Saturday, the family edition. Tomorrow, we talk about individuals, rather ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. And the stories are amazing. Coach Collins, as we finish up tonight, kwa sababu niliambiwa watu walikuwa napika chapati, I equally had mine tonight and they were really tasty. Sikubebewa na pan.
Yeah.
What is the main takeaway that all of us should go with tonight, in case we missed anything from this conversation?
In case you missed anything from this conversation, go back home with this. There's what we call confrontation care. In confrontation care, the skill which you need to use in case your sibling comes to you for help and support. You need to address two things. One, you need to be conscious about two things. One, separate the person from his need. Address the need, spare the person. There's a way in which you can say no and someone will smile. There's a way in which you can say no and enmity will arise. So confrontation care skill become extremely important even in the middle of real need and imagined need from your sibling. Once we exercise that, it will help us to live in harmony, even in the middle of not being able to support each other where we cannot, and where we are able to support each other because we are Ubuntu. You are what you are because of what I am. Confrontation care. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Coach Collins Bolo, and he talks about confrontation care. For those of you who have been looking at your brothers, your mother, and your father in a strange way because they just ask for a simple help, remember, you can always consult with Coach Collins Bolo, who is ready to give you those skills that you need to tackle such issues. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Collins Bolo on Instagram, it's at Bolo Collins with 2 L's. And the cell phone number is +254. Again, I'll take that. The phone number is +254 721 605 346. Call up, get the advice you need, and on top of that, unajua ile ukienda huko nje kuna consultation fee, hapa ako kwa bure. So join him because you get so much for free once you join him on this live conversation. Somebody here in the comment section tells me, Ellie, we really need to have a call in live. Guess what? We have all these possibilities. Just come in and bring us your suggestions, and we'll take them and we will consider them. Thank you so much, Joshua Masese, for making this conversation lively. Sarah and Jonjo, address the need, spare the person. Well said, coach. Well said. And to everybody that made this conversation and cast possible, including our producer, Gori Segero, of course, my manager, Eshu Chilumumba, and of course, the accounts department. Thank you so much for making this a possibility. And of course, not forgetting Coach Collins Bolo himself, the man with the witty words, and he believes in Ubuntu. How about myself? That story for another day. Until next time, I leave you this with Ruby, who tells me mambo ni mazuri mazuri sometimes ukiambia bwana atende ama namna gani. And Ruby just decided actually she's gonna miss out on this. Ani ameenda tu hivyo. Coach, have you ever seen you've psyched up so much and then just that person decides to disappear? What do you do? Coach, you don't laugh. You help a brother out. Okay.
No,
you know what?
Sometimes things just happen.
Things happen. What do you do when things happen?
You just cope up with the scenario.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a better way to actually cope up, because the coping mechanism is not working at all.
Yeah, you just have to cope up because one has just become a vapor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we're gonna do this another time, another day. Have a great night, and as always, my name is Likuyani Eli, and Coach Collins, tuambie tena mahali gani unaweza patikana kwa wale ambao wanakutafuta.
Yes, for those who are in Mombasa, Kenya, Moi Avenue, opposite Toyota Kenya, Lakshmi House. You can find me in a Money Counseling and Training Center. That's one area in Mombasa where you can find me for any therapy, any consultation, or if you need to undergo special assessments like psychometrics so that you can discover yourself, your intelligence, what you can naturally do and succeed in life, your personality makeups, and what that attributes to what you do in day-to-day life. All that in Mombasa, you can find me, or you can call me, and then we can have a dialogue. Otherwise, you can find me, you can call me in your institution through my family health, life skills, and career development page, and you can come and have more dialogue, more communication, more public speaking. Like one was saying some years back when he was a student in the Kenya Medical Training Center, they invited me to speak. I can still come and do the talk with your people. All those avenues exist and they're available.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach Collins, for coming, and for everybody else that made this possible. Have a great night. My name is Likuyani. Until next time, see you on Against All Odds.
Everyone tells you to watch out for the following signs and symptoms which might indicate that you are a mental health patient. Everyone gives you a clinical approach on how to tackle your mental health problems. But me, I'm no expert. I'm just an artistic soul with a simple life and a simple approach on how to stay sane in a world designed to drive you insane. Simple, the EP. Enjoy.